Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another grave visitation. So today we are here in Tintern Abbey in the County Wexford, a beautiful abbey, 13th century. And I'm just going to take you down and show you the outside of the abbey first, and then we'll be going back up to the old graveyard where we have some very old graves in there from the 1600s, and the famous family of the Colcloughs who lived in the abbey here, they are buried inside. So the abbey that we will go and see here now was founded in 1200 by William Marshall. Now William Marshall lived in around Pembroke in Wales. I was over there actually about 1 or 2 weeks ago, and there's a statue of him outside Pembroke Castle, the greatest knight of all he was known as, and he was the first Earl of Pembroke. So this is just the beautiful scenery that surrounds the abbey here in Tintern and Wexford. We have this beautiful bridge and walkways around, and just across the way there is the abbey. So William Marshall, he vowed to build an abbey here after being saved from a storm at sea. The abbey was built on land he acquired through a marriage to Isabella de Clare. So this is a daughter house to the one in Wales. There's also Tintern Abbey in Wales as well. So after the dissolution of the monasteries in the 1530s, the abbey's lands passed to Sir James Croft, and later in 1575 to Anthony Colclough, who was buried up in the old graveyard there, and we'll be going to visit his final resting place. So Anthony Colclough was a soldier in Henry VIII's army. His family occupied and gradually converted the abbey into fortified residence from the 16th century to the mid-20th century. So later on then in the 18th and 19th centuries, the Colcloughs added battlements, built a castellated bridge over the inlet, a lime kiln, and in the 19th century the walled garden that visitors can still explore here today. So we're just a little bit closer now to the abbey. Now in the 1980s there was an excavation done here inside Tintern Abbey, and they found skeletal remains, they believe, from I think it was the 12th or 13th century, very, very old. So there we can just see the window there that was the private chapel area of the family, would have been in there. So what we're going to do now is, we have an old tower over there as well. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to take you up to the graveyard, and I'll tell you a little bit more information about the old graveyard there and inside the church ruin. Right guys, so I'm in the old graveyard and the church ruin, as you can see here. So what I'm going to do is just read a couple of old headstones here, and this one with the railing around it is very old looking. This is to the memory of Christopher. It's hard to see with the leaf on it there. MacCord, who departed this life in 1824, aged 77, and Mary, his daughter. Mary, his wife, actually, daughter to William Selby, and granddaughter. So there's a lot of names on that, and actually that goes back as far as 1796. Age 17 years, someone was there in the 1700s. So there's one just here I want to show you. 18th century grave, and some of them are remarkable that you can still read the inscription on them. So this one here says, "Here lies the body of the Reverend Josiah Howell, who departed this life September the 8th, 1785, and he was 42 years old." So there we have a reverend. And this is the outer part of the old graveyard. And there is newer burials in here actually as well. We can see this one here. A beautiful Celtic cross in memory of Margaret Power, who died in 1924. This one, it says, "This tomb was placed by Jane Shaw, I think, in memory of her grandfather Robert Stafford, also to her mother Mary Ann Rosnet, I think. 1816 is the date on that. But there's a lovely, I think it's the Lamb of God that's on it, design there. A lot of lovely old headstones. Here lies the body of Morris O'Connor, who departed this life in July 1781, I think, aged 63 years old. And then we have these really old ones here. Here lies the body of Anne Caulfield, who departed this life 10th of October 1754, or that could be a 3 now, on 34, and Patrick Caulfield, her husband, 1770. As we can see the date on that there, aged 68 years old. So we have a few Caulfields there. More Caulfields. This is Thomas Caulfield's grave from Salt Mills, who died in 1848, aged 68 years old. And his wife Anne died in 1853, aged 68 years old. And we have a sister Mary, who died in 1882, and a son John, 1845. So they're dotted all around here, all these old graves. And it's not a big graveyard, but it has a lot of history. Very interesting things, as I was talking about there, the Colcloughs. And some of these are hard, there's a lot of lichen on these, so they're hard to read. The inscriptions. This is the memory of it looks like the name Clark on this. Richard Clark, December. And unfortunately, well, we can see down here, if you can see that, 1785 is the date on that one. So these are 18th century graves. Now the interesting part is inside. Sir Anthony Colclough, who was knighted, and he was a soldier of Henry VIII, and he lived at the Abbey here. So we're going to go inside and see his grave, and other members of the Colclough family are buried inside as well. Right, so just at the back of the old church ruin here, this is actually a vault, and it's a vault entrance that's there, and I'll bring you around now and show you inside. Right, so let's go inside the old church area here, and as I was saying, that's the far side of the vault. We can see the area there constructed. So the Colclough family are buried in the vault. Now there is three flat markers there, but there's no inscriptions on those. But the interesting part I want to show you is Sir Anthony Colclough, who was knighted, and he was Henry VIII's soldier. So this is his final resting place, as we can see just there. And I'm going to show you the inscription. So as we can just, if you can see that, it says, "Here lied the body of Sir Anthony Colclough, knight, eldest son of Richard Colclough of Woolstanton in Staffordshire, Esquire, who came first into this land the 34th year of Henry VIII, and was captain of the pensioners in which place, and others of greater charge." So there's a lot of information on that, but you can see a date there. It's amazing, 1584. So that's the plaque, and he's buried just there. And there's other Colclough family members are buried here on these flat stone slabs. So here lie the remains of John Colclough, oldest son of Bagnall Colclough. His wife Frances, and I think the date on that is 1800s. And we have another family member buried here. Here lied the mortal remains of Martha, wife of James Boyd, and youngest daughter of Bagnall and Francis Colclough, who departed this life the 20th day of January 1839, aged 35 years old. So that's more family members. And unfortunately there is graves here as well, but they're not legible. You can't read these. They're just totally worn away with time, I suppose, and weather. And there's the window to the back of the church is bricked up, as we can see. All the windows are bricked up. I think bar that one down there. It's kind of just stuff at the bottom, just to stop people climbing in there, I suppose, because they do have a gate that they lock up. To keep these protected, very old. It's important to keep these things protected, history, from vandalism. So there's another old grave and headstone here, and it looks like it's the body of Jonathan Clegg, who departed this life in 1797. I think he was 36. Also his son James departed this life in November 1816, aged 41, and their daughter Elizabeth, who died in 1817. She was 39 years old. This is the other side then of the graveyard. These are really old. These ones are really, really old. They're dotted around the graveyard. So I think I'm going to leave it at that, guys. I'm going to wrap the video up here. Thanks for coming along. I hope you enjoyed it. And the history, very old, 1500 graves and stuff. And a night. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. And I'll catch you all on the next cemetery adventure. Take care.